Certainly, it's a pleasure to welcome everyone to a comprehensive analysis of the Lakers, especially now that the season has come to an end and the future is beginning to take shape. Nearly a week has passed since the Lakers' 2024-2025 season concluded against a formidable opponent, symbolically the same team they faced at the start of the season, though under very different circumstances. Since there hasn't yet been an opportunity to reflect on everything, now is an ideal moment to examine the playoff series that proved to be quite complex, as well as the overall impressions left by the season. It's important to acknowledge that there was both an underestimation of the opponent and an overestimation of the Lakers' chances as the season wound down. Ultimately, many of the concerns about the matchup were confirmed throughout the series and were unfortunately compounded by a series of injuries that deeply impacted the team. In some ways, the defeat felt inevitable. From that standpoint, it's worth considering the overall impression the series left behind. The team's sustainability was a valid concern, and those issues became increasingly evident as the games progressed. While the outcome wasn't entirely unexpected, there's still a clear sense of disappointment. There was always the possibility of a first-round exit, barring a matchup with one specific team. The problems previously discussed regarding the full opposing team became clear, and the elements that initially provided hope failed to materialize. In nearly every possible playoff scenario, challenges would have emerged, except perhaps against a particular team. What were once viewed as favorable? Matchups simply did not play out that way. A specific opposing player ended up having the best playoff series of his career, which raises questions. Maybe that wasn't a coincidence. Maybe he truly excelled against a team lacking size. This isn't shocking, as many underestimated the opponent, which had maintained a strong net rating all season. They entered the playoffs playing their best basketball, in stark contrast to the Lakers' condition. They closed the season with an impressive stretch, backed by a solid net rating and led by a key player. The Lakers, meanwhile, entered the postseason hampered by key injuries, some of which were not traditional injuries, but rather the effects of aging. Additional injuries affected others throughout the year. So while disappointing, this outcome isn't entirely surprising. With superstar players on the roster, expectations for postseason success are always present, even when major championship hopes aren't particularly high. Unfortunately, the team failed to advance beyond the first round. Still, with certain key pieces in place, the Lakers are in a solid position moving forward. The situation, while frustrating, doesn't feel as dire as in past years, and that's a small but important win. Two lingering questions remain. What if a critical player hadn't gotten sick during a decisive game? And what if a rookie head coach hadn't faltered late in the series? These factors undoubtedly impacted many of the results, including decisions made during games. Let's imagine a scenario where J.J. Redick wasn't an inexperienced coach seemingly under pressure during the final stretch of the series. That context affected outcomes, like his heavy reliance on the main rotation in the second half of Game 4. Still, even if the Lakers had advanced, the team's structural flaws, particularly issues of sustainability, would have likely surfaced in the next round. After a brief period of rest, it's time to look ahead to the future of the Luka era in Los Angeles and how to build around him. There are valuable lessons from these playoffs that can inform how the team is constructed around Luka and what to do with the so-called Big Three. So for this segment, let's start broadly. How do we proceed with Luka, LeBron, and AR? What's the willingness to part with key players after what we've seen? Where do we begin when it comes to building around Luka? Broadly speaking, I believe the key is surrounding Luka, especially in the starting lineup, with versatile players. Building around him is arguably easier than building around others who aren't consistent outside shooters. The challenge with this starting unit is that when a core player needs covering, that player also has to be the offensive centerpiece and defensive backbone. Over time, as injuries have mounted, it's clear that a certain key player is no longer what he once was. While he may still have several strong seasons left, building around an elite scorer is simpler because others can slot into defined roles. In contrast, this core requires multiple players to take on various responsibilities. Firmly believe the starting point is the center position. We need a high-level starting center, which is rare, and a reliable backup big. Small ball lineups aren't obsolete in the NBA, as these playoffs have shown. and we've long discussed that. Often as the only ones highlighting it, size still matters. You need to be able to go small, but I think we already have the personnel for that. Some of our current players can effectively enable a small lineup when necessary. However, that doesn't mean small ball should be the primary plan for the backup center role. When I talk about needing two centers, I mean two true bigs who can cover regular season minutes and adjust to various playoff matchups. That's something we can manage. If we need to go small for stretches, we have the right personnel now. But we need two legitimate centers and more athleticism in the backcourt alongside Luka, which may require altering roles for others. That might mean moving Austin to the bench if he's not traded. This in general appears to be the framework for building around Luka. Ironically, the kind of team we're envisioning looks quite a bit like the one Dallas had built around him before trading him. They had the right infrastructure, though I'm not entirely sold on the Kyrie piece. Though a player like Austin could fit into that role. The key is having a wealth of long, adaptable wings who can defend and complement Luka's play style. Guys like Najee Marshall and Quentin Grimes, players who arguably should not have been moved. And PJ Washington. This is what the Lakers may try to pursue this offseason. They'll be working with limited cap space but slightly more trade assets. Here's the tricky part. LeBron James is arguably still the best utility forward in the league, but he's also 40 years old. You can't rely on him to go full speed for 82 games. And even in the playoffs, that dependency is uncertain. How do you build around a 40-year-old with a $54 million salary? So I'll pose a broader question. Can you still build around this trio? If the answer is no, is next year just a transition season? I don't have the full answer to that yet. It's just something to think about. But if the question is whether you can contend with Luka and LeBron, my answer is absolutely yes. Back in 2020, when the Lakers won a title, LeBron was already older, yet he was arguably a top 5 player in the league. Maybe not an MVP, but definitely in the top 5, even to skeptics, and absolutely in the top 10. In the playoffs, as competition stiffened, he may have been the best player in the league. He and Anthony Davis were probably 2 of the top 4 in that postseason. Is he still on that level now? No, but he's still top 15 or top 20. If that's your second best player, you're in good shape. This season has shown that the overlap between Luka and LeBron is somewhat overstated. Even during the playoffs, LeBron accepted a secondary role. It might look different compared to playing with Davis, but he seemed content with his dynamic. That's why I think it's still viable. But no one should treat next year as a placeholder, just running out the clock on LeBron's final season. This isn't like the final years of Kobe Bryant's career, when he was far from all-star caliber and still getting paid near max level money. His on-court production didn't match that salary. In contrast, LeBron, despite making $50 million next year, is expected to earn that on the court unless he suffers an injury, which hasn't been an issue recently. So this is still workable. Yet it's critical to evaluate the limitations of the rest of the roster. That doesn't mean blow it all up. Keeping 5 or 6 core guys from last season seems reasonable. Changes are needed, of course. For instance, I don't see a need to trade Austin or Rui. Certainly not both. But if you're not moving either, you also can't start both of them alongside LeBron and Luka. I'm not saying one should definitely start or come off the bench. It could go either way. But LeBron and Luka need support from defensive-minded players who can do the gritty work over 82 games that those two might not be able or willing to do consistently. Luka's younger, sure, but that's the heart of the issue. Let's take a quick pause before we continue. When we come back, we'll talk more about this supposed big three and the viability of building around that group. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. Now that we're back, your point about not confining the conversation to the big three label makes a lot of sense. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on. In a stunning turn of events, NBA superstar Kevin Durant has reportedly agreed to join the Los Angeles Lakers, marking a seismic shift in the landscape of the NBA. The news, which has sent shockwaves through the basketball world, could completely reshape the dynamics of the Western Conference and fuel the Lakers' championship aspirations for the upcoming season. Durant, a 2-time NBA champion and former MVP, has long been regarded as one of the most dominant players in the league. Known for his scoring ability, versatility, and clutch performances, Durant's arrival in Los Angeles immediately propels the Lakers into title contention, alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, forming an imposing Big Three. This move is expected to solidify the Lakers' position as one of the most dangerous teams in the NBA, giving them an edge in their quest for another championship. The decision to join the Lakers comes at a pivotal moment in Durant's career. After spending the last few years with the Brooklyn Nets, where he played a central role in the team's offensive and defensive schemes, Durant has opted for a new challenge. His time in Brooklyn was filled with highs and lows, from injury setbacks to a tumultuous team dynamic. Despite his individual brilliance, the Nets were unable to achieve the level of success Durant and the franchise had hoped for. This shift to the Lakers is seen as a fresh start and an opportunity to finally return to the pinnacle of the NBA once again. From a Lakers perspective, this signing could not come at a more crucial time. The team has been in a state of flux in recent seasons, struggling to find the right mix of talent and consistency to make a deep playoff run. However, the combination of LeBron's leadership, Davis's defensive prowess, and Durant's offensive firepower is a dream trio that could take the Lakers to new heights. The Lakers front office has worked tirelessly to surround their superstars with complementary pieces, and Durant's arrival only bolsters their roster. The NBA as a whole is buzzing with speculation about how Durant will fit into the Lakers' system. While some question whether Durant, LeBron, and Davis can coexist seamlessly, others believe that their individual talents are enough to overcome any potential chemistry issues. Durant's scoring versatility, from his three-point shooting to his mid-range game and ability to attack the basket, makes him an ideal complement to LeBron's playmaking and Davis's defensive dominance. Additionally, Durant's experience in high-pressure situations cannot be overstated. With multiple NBA championships under his belt, he has the pedigree to perform on the grandest stage. His leadership and poise in clutch moments could provide the Lakers with a much-needed boost in critical playoff games. The move is not only a game-changer for the Lakers, but also a statement of intent for the entire NBA. Durant, who had long been considered a free agent prize, has made it clear that he is still determined to compete for championships and further cement his legacy among the greatest players of all time. In joining one of the most storied franchises in the NBA, Durant's arrival sends a message that the Lakers are all in on winning now. As the dust settles on this monumental decision, all eyes will be on Los Angeles as the Lakers embark on a new chapter with Kevin Durant in tow. The stakes have never been higher, and the expectations are immense. Fans in LA are already dreaming of what could be the most formidable trio in the NBA, and the excitement surrounding the team has reached fever pitch if this partnership lives. Up to its potential, the Lakers could very well find themselves back on top of the NBA world, with Durant playing a pivotal role in delivering the franchise its 18th championship. Only time will tell if this bold move will pay off. But one thing is certain, the Lakers have once again become the team to beat. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.